Morning, Global Studies students. Mr. Rosine back at you with some more Russian history. So right now what you're looking at is our weekly checklist. Today I'm going to take us through steps 4 through 6 on our note sheet. All right, so once again, when I go to this week's folder and I go to the Russian Revolution folder, the Russian history, this is the note sheet we're looking at that you put into Notability yesterday. So today let's start with step 4 here as we start to go through. So yesterday, anyone depressed yesterday after you did the reading of those primary documents and looked at those primary photos? I really like primary documents and photos because they really give us a sense of what things looked like for the people that lived them at that time. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that lullaby that parents read to their kids was pretty depressing. What do you think about those pictures of the food and in terms of how the kids were looking, and the working conditions you read about? Pretty awful. So for step 4, what I would like you to do today is you are going to write down what 4 words would you use to describe how the majority of people lived in Russia. All right, I have 4 that I would use. Shocking is one of them. I'd like to hear what your 4 are. So take a minute and you're going to write down those 4 words. All right, on our note sheet, it's time to move on to step 5. So as you can see from your instructions, continue using the PowerPoint on Russian history. Use the slide titled Bloody Sunday for this segment. So I'm going to go to that real quickly here. Here's the thing. I always say that there is a straw that breaks the camel's back, one where people finally have enough, and as a result, they decide that they need to do something. And the Russian people are a great example of this. Now, the Russian people believed that the Tsar was sent from God. So they didn't want to make the Tsar mad because they felt like God at one point would get retribution or would all of a sudden do something to them. When they died, they might not go to a desirable place. So the Russian people go to the Winter Palace where the Tsar is living. And yes, that is correct. The Tsar has multiple palaces. And what do? They go there to have a very peaceful protest. They actually are carrying signs of the Tsar. They're saying things like, God save the Tsar, help us, we have no medicine, we have no food. And they are there to have a peaceful protest. Our top photo shows this over here, another primary photo with the people gathered there. Problem, the Tsar, being so out of touch with everybody, thinks they are there to actually come and harm him. So he sends out the military, what we see here in the front part of this picture, and shots are fired. Reports of the day say that there's hundreds, some reports say thousands of people died, but it marked a turning point in Russian history. And so right now, we should have on our note sheet, we should have this written down. All right, these 4 notes. Now, throughout history, there have been films that are made about it. So for step 6 that we're going to do next, you will see a short video from a movie that looks at it. So once again, for this, we're going to be into our folder, all right, and you will see the video clip of Bloody Sunday. Again, send it out of Schoology, just like we do for our other ones, and take a moment and watch and see what this looks like. Russian history has changed, right? People are no longer thinking the Tsar is supportive of them. And so they're ready for him to be done. Let's now go back here after you watch the video. We're going to go back to the notes here found in step 1. So what happens? We have 3 notes we're going to fill in. Okay. 1914, World War I breaks out. All right. World War I breaks out, and the Russians are not handling it very well. They don't have enough guns. They don't have enough uniforms. There are reports that when Russian soldiers are actually killed, what they end up doing is they have to take the uniform off of the dead soldier and use their gun because they don't have anything. The Tsar, trying to help boost morale, decides that he's going to go to the front lines of the war. And he does that. But he's got to leave someone in charge. So he leaves his wife, Alexandra, in charge. She is known as the Tsarina. And if you think about it, it means queen. Tsar means king, Tsarina means queen. The issue is this. The Russian people don't like her for a couple of reasons. They think she's mean, but the other problem is she's German. All right, if you're thinking, hopefully your minds are going, who are the Russians fighting? They're fighting the Germans. And so a lot of Russian citizens actually believe she's a spy for the German government. And they don't like her for that. And they say bad things in the press about her, and they protest her. And she gets her retaliation as she's not very nice to the Russian people. What ends up happening, all right, is there's another problem. The royal family has a secret, all right, and the secret revolves around Alexis. Remember, we talked about in the earlier clip that Alexis is a boy's name. He is suffering from a disease called hemophilia, all right? Hemophilia is a disease where the blood does not clot. All right. So if I got a black and blue mark on my arm, all right, me being Mr. Rosine, it's going to clot, right? I'll have a black and blue mark, but eventually the bleeding will stop. If you're a hemophiliac like Alexis was, you don't stop bleeding, all right? A bruise can bleed for days and days, and think about the danger that that might cause. So Alexei all of a sudden realizes that he has this. The family does everything they possibly can. They call in doctors. The latest medicine at the time is called aspirin, and they give it to him. But for those of you that might be aware, aspirin is actually a blood thinner, so he bleeds more. But Alexis hears of kind of a rule of a healer out there, all right, a religious gentleman by the name of Grigory Rasputin. And Grigory Rasputin comes in and basically becomes her savior and supposedly heals Alexis. This is Grigory Rasputin, all right? And we're going to leave Grigory Rasputin's images like this for you. And we will pick up steps 7 and 8 with more on Grigory Rasputin. He looks creepy, doesn't he? Well, in our next session together, we will explore just how creepy he really was.